Tonight on Newsbeat, the state legislative session has begun. We'll tell you what to expect at the Capitol over the coming months.
And an increase in national suicides has led some on campus to offer their support. We have more on how you can help.
And the Louisiana Survey results are in. We have the details on what Louisiana residents have to say about the state.
All this and more. Newsbeat starts right now.
Hello and welcome back to Newsbeat. I'm Trey Cuvion.
And I'm Rachel Handley. Thanks for joining us.
Louisiana lawmakers are back at the Capitol for their work. Governor John Bel Edwards officially kicked off the 2019 regular session with his State of the State address on Monday. He touched on things like continued support for Medicaid expansion, including those people with pre-existing conditions. He also said that teacher pay raises should be a main priority during the session, pushing for a $1,000 raise for teachers and a $500 raise for other school staff. Edwards also pushing for a constitutional amendment that would set the minimum wage at $9 per hour, saying that voters in Louisiana should decide on the issue.
For 3 years, I've asked you to support an increase in the minimum wage in the state, and yet many workers in Louisiana are still no closer to a wage that can support a family or bring them out of poverty. So I ask you today, even if in the past you've not supported the minimum wage for our workers, give the people of this state a right to decide.
The session will last until no later than June the 6th, with other topics like sports betting and industrial hemp all in the agenda.
And the party's over for one Baton Rouge rapper after he was bonded out of jail today. Rapper and Baton Rouge native Boosie Badass, real name Torrance Hatch, was in Georgia when he was arrested at a traffic stop. The deputy found a loaded firearm and marijuana in the car. Hatch was taken into custody with his passenger, Antonio Allen. The two were booked into Coweta County Jail. Hatch posted his $3,500 bond earlier today. No word yet on whether the passenger also posted bail. And we have an update on the tragic death of two people, one an LSU student, that happened near campus.
Tiger TV's Joshua Bowering is in studio with more on what authorities say was a double suicide. Josh?
Thanks, guys. After 8 days, more evidence showed that the deaths of Joy Jonti and Max Raymond was in fact a double suicide. Investigators found notes which were left by both the man and woman in the apartment. The apartment was rented, and when that rental ended, someone sent to clean found the bodies, according to police. The two were scheduled to check out of the apartment April 1st. Raymond, a second-semester freshman at LSU, was reported missing on March 30th after his grandfather notified an LSU staff member that he had not heard from his grandson in 3 days. The two were found in the Highlander Townhomes complex on Highlander Road near the north gates of LSU's campus. The coroner's office said no external or internal signs of trauma were present. Both bodies had an excessive amount of fluid in the lungs and brain, often consistent in an overdose. The exact cause of death still depends on final autopsy, which could take up to 4 weeks to complete.
Thanks, Josh. LSU Mental Health Services wants students to be safe and have a sound mind coming into finals. Signs of self-harm or suicidal thoughts are common in college students and can be spotted and treated. Dr. John Otzenberger, a licensed clinical psychologist and director of mental health services at LSU, wants students to trust their instincts when they see a red flag in their friends and family.
Ultimately, what I tell people is, college students, if you have a friend and your gut tells you that something's going on with them, it is. And it's perfectly appropriate to talk to somebody. It's actually okay to say, hey, you're not going to hurt yourself, are you? Are you suicidal? That's not going to push someone into being suicidal. They'll actually experience that is that you care for them, that's regard for them in that way.
If you are contemplating suicide, there are resources available for help. The National Suicide Prevention Lifeline is 1-800-273-TALK.
And over the next 2 weeks, the Public Policy Research Lab at LSU's Manship School of Mass Communication will be releasing the results of the 2019 Louisiana Survey. The survey is used to determine residents' opinions on the issues of today. This year is particularly important because of the legislative session. The first report found 47% of Louisiana residents say the state is headed in the right direction, compared to 39% a year ago. But residents would like to see more change in education and transportation, including better support for public education. The second report revealed 2/3 of residents are willing to take on a new tax to solve some problems.
And there's a lot of support for a 5-cent increase in the gas tax, and because people, they're connecting the dots on this. They care about transportation. They also say it's been getting worse in the last few years, and so they're willing to support an investment of new revenue into trying to solve those problems.
The second half of the reports will focus on hot topics like teacher pay raises, minimum wage, and criminal justice. For the full report, go to pprllsu.com/projects.
Well, speaking of politics, student political organizations on campus are gearing up for new recruits. Both the College of Democrats and College of Republicans are launching new campaigns to raise awareness about their groups. They say they want to help students engage with politics on campus and explore new ideas they might not have known before.
We basically act as the Democratic voice on campus. We host events where we talk about certain issues. We bring in speakers. We've had Baton Rouge Mayor President Sharon Westenbroom on campus. We've had speakers from the Louisiana Budget Project on campus. But we bring on speakers who usually share our political views or come from the Democratic Party.
The College Republicans' core mission here at LSU is to promote Republican ideas and conservative ideas on campus, across the state, and around the country.
You can get more information on joining either group by searching them on Facebook and messaging them with any questions you may have. After being the only #1 seed to lose to a #16 seed in last year's March Madness, the University of Virginia completed their comeback story as they won their first ever national championship.
That's right, the Cavaliers kept it close, and a late three from sophomore guard DeAndre Hunter sent the game into overtime. The Cavaliers went on to hit all 12 of their free throws to seal the game. Charlottesville will forever remember the team that got knocked out in the first round and that bounced back to win it all. Coming up, how changes to local bus routes are leaving some riders in the dust.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to Newsbeat. It's the route less taken for some as the Capital Area Transit System, or CATS, announced changes to some of their bus routes. Max Gotro has more on why some passengers aren't impressed.
Travel, defined as movement from one place to another. The Capital Area Transit System, known as CATS, has been moving Baton Rouge residents for decades. CATS currently provides more than 2 million rides each year, operating 29 bus lines. The bus lines, however, were significantly altered in late February, as routes were changed and stops were both added and removed as part of its service improvement plan. The changes are intended to improve travel time and increase service hours, yet some commuters are unhappy with the moved routes. Damian Thomas rides the bus 4 days a week and was notified that the route he used would be moved. While he was able to accommodate to the new route easily, Thomas worries about others who were affected.
It affected a lot of people. Like, I know 2 old ladies who ride the bus very often, and now the bus doesn't pass by their house. So with that being said, they have to get back and forth to each other.
CATS Communications Coordinator Alexandra Sevier responded that stops had to be removed to speed up routes and stop at reasonable locations.
The practice previously was if you called and said, I want a bus stop in front of my house, we would drop a bus stop in front of your house.
One of the changes that has been well received is a frequency change during rush hours to 30 minutes or less, meaning shorter waits for buses during the busiest times. Stops were also added to service apartment complexes that were previously unserviced. A new route was added to Blunt Road in North Baton Rouge. CATS analysis found the service improvement plan would bring a 20% increase in accessibility for low-income populations. Sevier says CATS weighed feedback from citizens, local officials, and businesses and used data from a service equity analysis, which is required by the Federal Transit Administration. However, she notes there are more changes to come.
We're seeing that some of the changes we implemented need to be refined even further. So we're actually currently looking at 6 of our routes that are not performing the way that we expect them to perform.
Temporary changes will be rolled out in April that will officially go into effect in June. For Tiger TV, I'm Max Gotro.
For more information about the new routes, visit www.brcats.com. After the break, which celebrity is getting the Netflix treatment? We'll tell you when we come back.
Welcome back to Newsbeat. If you're a Beyonce fan, then Christmas is coming early. The Queen Bee herself is coming to Netflix next week. The streaming giant announced yesterday a documentary about Beyonce's 2018 Coachella performance. It's called Homecoming and will give an intimate look at her performance and life as a celebrity. It's out on April 8th. And that's all the time we have. For more news, check out our social media pages or visit tigertv.tv. I'm Rachel Handley.
And I'm Trey Cuvion. Thanks for watching, and have a great night, Tigers.